Alright, hello, I'm back once again. Body for commentating their second preset of the race. This is going to be Berix versus Xanthus once again. This time they choose Thief mode. Xanthus selected this as the loser of the last race. For those who don't know, Thief mode is an interesting preset, and that every single pickup along the castle is actually a soul canister, meaning it can be a bullet, guardian, or enhancement soul. All of their equipment will have to come from enemy drops specifically. However, enemy drops are boosted, and they do have access to the rare ring, which boosts enemy drops even further. It's certainly an interesting preset. And we should be getting started with it in just one moment. So Thief is the newest preset to this edition, whereas Dracula is kind of a tweak of last year's Magician preset, and Inverse and Stat Rando is kind of a tweak on Element Rando from last year. Thief is entirely brand new, but it is definitely a kind of a contentious preset that I do think is a lot of fun. But enemy drops being the entirety of your equipment loadout can be very, very mean at times. This is also a book preset as well, though, so they will still have to find the red, blue, and yellow book to know their exact requirements for defeating Graham, and still have to naturally go through Graham, Julius, and Chaos. And looks like we are starting. Berix slightly ahead. Give me one moment to fix that. And right off the bat, we're seeing a katana drop from the zombie. That's a pretty big deal for Xanthus. That's a much better weapon than the hammer. I believe the damage is pretty comparable, but it's a better multi-hit weapon and a lot faster. And both are going to have access to katana now and just instantly switch over to it. Looks like Berix is farming the zombies a bit just to try and see what their rare drop is, and not really getting much luck with it. Xanthus remembering to equip the rare ring, getting an uncursed potion for the rare drop, so sadly not a valuable rare drop from the zombies. And luckily we are once again getting a pretty early Black Panther for them both. So hopefully this doesn't mean we're getting a very late Malphus like last time, where it's hidden in Reservoir. Reservoir, the same entrance once again. That's interesting. Big goal instead of Malphus this time. Skull Archer is a decent soul to have, and Giant Bat giving your flight and technically slide very early on. Although finding Bat before Malphus is always vaguely horrifying to me. Although there's Malphus right there. All right. Echoes of the past seed already, where Malphus led almost directly into Hippogriff. Wow, this is potentially a very fast seed with Flight this early on as well. And Xanthus finding Hippo as well. Although if Xanthus doesn't go back and check Reservoir on the first corridor with enters, it would be quite some time before he finds Malphus. This seed is going to be shaping up to be incredibly funny. Red Minotaur for Xanthus and Kilma Demon for Berix, both very useful souls. Very opposite ends of the spectrum. Kilma Demon is one of the best defensive souls, especially for traversal, where Red Minotaur, while extremely expensive, offers some unparalleled offensive power. And Gardens as well. Very early Gardens find. Thief mode means that all drops in the entire game are going to be soul drops, or all checks, are going to be soul canisters. The shop only sells souls for 15,000 gold apiece. The only way they can get equipment upgrades, be it like weapon, armor, or accessories, is through enemy drops. So it incentivizes combat a lot, as you have to defeat enemies to get any level of equipment upgrades. However, enemy drops are largely boosted, and you start with the rare ring as well to boost them even further. We would have fixed luck as a stat if luck even remotely impacted anything in this game. Luck is a stat in Aria of Sorrow that is just completely broken. Broken as in, it does not function. You can have like 100 luck and it barely adds a percentage point to soul drop chances. Xanthus finding a random skull key drop, which means he's guaranteed to win the seed. And Slide for Berix, which is a lot less useful for him than it would be for Xanthus, as he's already found Bat, but... Stupid circling to start with 1600. True! Berix fighting the Kicker Skeleton just because it has a very high item drop rate on its own. And it does have 2 drops as well, so a broadsword, pretty much a downgrade from the katana. And $50. It'll be very useful for those 15,000 gold souls. Inner Quarters for Xanthus is an interesting find. A little bit awkward to traverse with just Hippogriff and no double jump, but it's definitely manageable. Berix still just fiending for this the rare drop, or presuming the rare drop from the Kicker Skeleton. Wow, that is very impactful for Xanthus. It's not going to come up now, but it will certainly come up later for that Rune Ring drop. Yeah, it looks like Berix has come to the same decision of he spent long enough farming the Kicker Skeleton, just didn't get lucky, so he's just cutting his losses and moving on. Oh, he did get it. Oh, okay. I must have missed it when I was looking at Xanthus's. Ooh, locked top 4 entrance, though. However, top 4 leading directly to Gardens is always very nice. Curlies are dropping mana prisms as well, which makes them a very valuable potential farm target. certainly want to kill as many of those as possible along the way, just on the off chance. Although that Archdemon and Ancient Book, the Red Book as well, Archdemon alone is going to simplify your mana problems a lot, especially if you have some decent healing. Cream Soda from the Curlies as well, so Cream Soda and Mana Prisms make some very valuable farms for just some very good consumables. He'll get that Catoblepas eventually. Cestus drop from the Valkyrie. That'll be helpful if they find anything that's resist slash. It'll at least be a non-elemental aspected option. Xanthus warping back, probably just to heal at Mina. And Forbidden Area for Berix. That's interesting. There's no checks in it, at least, so he doesn't have to actually go through it. I didn't see the soul requirement on the red book, but it was from Peeping Eye, which should not be too horrible of a farm, potentially. Bomber armor again? Really? Interesting. Berix also finding the Cestus as both of them are currently just high-fiving each other in corridors. Succubus is a very good find for Berix. However, that Nightmare is still putting in a lot of work for Xanthus, helping clear out a lot of these enemies early on and very efficiently. It's interesting how early on, once again, their routes have just diverged a great deal. Berix going back to quarters and probably about to find the red book himself if he continues up through quarters, but he may elect to leave. I think the zombie officers can take perfect character footing. Catoblepas is a good soul drop for Xanthus, as it at least provides some stone options. Awkward to use, but at least some, like, decent elemental coverage potential. Oh, Berix, did you get the red book already? Oh, I didn't think he went through the tower climb in quarters yet. Alright. Thank you once again, chat. Great sword. Decent upgrade from the katana. But without backdash, it's really kind of clunky to use, so I agree with the choice of sticking with the katana. Xanthus currently working his way through Gardens. I'm not sure if the Grace will be the same speed as no backdash katana. It restricts your movement a lot more, though, I feel like. There's a bit more recovery time. Or maybe it's just a comfort thing on my end with the katana. And that's slide for Xanthus. However, Xanthus still has not gone into Reservoir to find either Giant Bat or Malphus. Great Armor is the boss of quarters, should be easy to make quick work of. Especially with the multi-hit from Succubus on the shield, they're just making him outpace the damage Great Armor could even potentially do to him. No time ability for either of them from either Chrono Mage or Galamoth. Even if they had Chrono Mage, I think they're still too low of a level to actually use it, so... Xanthus also taking time to farm the Kicker Skeleton here. Although got the Tasty Meat a lot earlier. Catobleep is helping just make a lot faster kills for it. This Nightmare as well, helping... Did Berix just now equip the Rune Ring? Or did he... No, I think he unequipped it for something else. Or the Rare Ring. Although Xanthus now finding the locked edges of top 4, which is still nice to see, at least that it connects to Gardens, will make the trip from Graham to Julius a lot nicer. If Berix hasn't had the Rare Ring equipped at all, that will be... honestly incredibly funny. Yeah, this use of Catobleepus and then like Nightmare by Xanthus is just speeding up combat a lot for him. It's actually very, very nice to see. Although both have now found their way back to corridors. Although both of them having access to flight, most of corridors, with the sole exception being the School of Locked check, is open to them, so they still have a lot of options to go through. And there's School. So with Flight and School, the entire castle is now open to them, with the sole exception being the Waterfall check. And there's going to be Malphus for Xanthus as well. And you know he has to be shaking his head at how early he could have had Malphus potentially. Which would have simplified movement for him so much. Manticore a pushover as always. Even with triple resist, it's not a problem. And Berix, for those who don't know, there are normally enemies that spawn up there, a pair of ghost dancers and gargoyles that can really become a nuisance, but they don't spawn until after you re-enter the room after defeating Manticore. So if you get the check while you defeat Manticore without rezoning the room, it becomes a lot simpler. Also Kicker Skeleton, which is a nice movement and utility tool. However, when you already have access to flight, a lot of its more niche uses are kind of cut off. And Berix now getting his first copy of Nightmare as well, which will help him a great deal. Berix did not have the rare ring equipped at all. That is very funny, but incredibly unfortunate for him. That's a lot of drops and a lot of time he's spent just that are potentially missed. Xanthus making good use of Chronomage to get into the time-locked corridor. And rewarded for it, too, with the yellow book. Weak to slash Archdemon as well. Looks like he's using the Gram at some point as well, which is a pretty decent option for a straight sword. And he is electing to farm the slash weak Archdemon, which I think is probably a good choice, knowing he can have a pretty potentially good drop while not being too challenging of an enemy. Berix going through top floor, just deciding to check it while he's here and gonna unlock the warp just for later. Creaking Skull for Berix is actually a very, very good blue soul. One of the better support souls out there for damage. And Red Crow from Succubus for the mandatory yellow. So we once again have two books that we know are soul checks, so we know the blue book is going to be a boss check of some form. So far, Creaking Skull was probably the best top floor check. Going through here is a little bit less valuable just because it's all guaranteed to be souls. Getting the warp is always nice, but he's not quite strong to deal with a lot of the enemies up here, making it very hard for him to actually farm them efficiently for good equipment. So far, we're seeing kind of a repeat of last seed as well, though, where Xanthus is finding more books early on. Going through Chapel, which I believe, yes, Berix has already gone through, so he's going to be finding top floor himself here soon, I believe. Although we do seem to be having some issues with Berix's restream, so it is stuttering a fair bit. Doing the best we can to kind of get that back up and running. Looks like Berix found a reservoir at some point. Super potions from the needles is going to make healing a non-issue for this seed. Yeah, and the fact that Berix didn't pick up that one means he's capped on 9 different super pots already, so he has 9 full heals at a moment's notice. And that's Red Crow as well, which is his mandatory yellow soul. We are once again seeing shades of Last Seed, where Xanthus has both books and a lot of the knowledge, but Berix is the one that actually has the requirements done. Persephone being one of the funnier souls in the game, and a healing option, although not quite as good as something like Succubus, or even Dryad. Undine as well is quite huge in case the waterfall does end up being mandatory. Bit more fun to play with. Oh yeah, it just gives you a giant skull vacuum. Who doesn't love a giant skull vacuum? Iron Golem, another just very convenient soul to find, especially once you have decent equipment and are just kind of in go mode, blazing through the castle, just not taking any flinch damage, like any knockback from hits, or flinching at all is very nice. And a cape from the Dryad, that's unfortunate. In almost every seed I've played, the Dryads have always had some pretty stacked drops, so I feel like it's rare to see them have something that underwhelming. Cemetery from Berix while Xanthus works through Forbidden Area. And yeah, Iron Golem does definitely come with its risks, but the speed it offers is extremely good. The only real downside is no iframe, so spikes can just eviscerate you instantly. Clock Tower can become one of the most dangerous areas in the game with Iron Golem. Game 2 is going interesting. It's so far resolving a lot like Game 1, where Xanthus is going through Forbidden Area despite there being no Soul Compass checks, which I think is interesting. I can't think of a reason to do that. And I think he just realized the same thing and is now turning around. But Game 1, Xanthus found every single book, but didn't find a lot of the checks. Meanwhile, Berix had all 3 soul requirements and boss requirements, but only had one of the books. And we're currently getting into a very similar scenario where Xanthus has 2 of the 3 books found, but none of the requirements, where Berix has 1 book found, but also only one of the requirements. Giant worm. Kind of useless when he already has Succubus. And he also now has Yellow Book and knows that he has the book and the soul. So we know that a dupe Yellow Book exists. For those who are new and don't know, every single book has a 50% chance of having a duplicate somewhere on the map. It is not guaranteed, however. It's interesting to see where Berix and Xanthus are going to head to next, just because seeds like this to me are always a bit challenging, just because they found Flight and Skula very early on, which leaves your routing extremely open-ended. With so much access to the castle right off the bat, it can become almost overwhelming, kind of like the abundance of options that you have. Mach Punch as well is actually a very viable weapon. It's short range, but decent power, and also a non-elemental. So again, any resist slash enemies that can be a decent option for. Yeah, so far we've found some very, very powerful consumables. Super pots from the needles are the most notable one, being an almost guaranteed drop that you can very easily max out on for a complete full heal. So Berix currently has 9 super pots on him, meaning healing will be a non-issue this entire seed. He's used to, well, yeah, but he's also still in Reservoir, and needles are not a challenging farm. He can get back up to 9 in a moment's notice. The most notable thing, actually, was the fact that Berix, for the first almost half of the seed, did not have Rare Ring equipped. Xanthus also in Cemetery right now, meaning he should be finding that dupe yellow book as well, which would be a bit unfortunate for him as he's already found it. Choosing to farm the Dead Crusader, which is interesting. I think this enemy is a little bit too annoying to really justify the time investment for it, but... Nightmare is making very quick work of it, except when it chooses to be a troll and just block all of it. Using Arc Demon just get a free mana refill, which, yeah, but reward with a melon, too. Although at this point, the value of the melon, I feel like, drops a lot when you have almost infinite super pots. Red Book was, I believe it was Bomber Armor. I want to say it dropped from Succubus? Or was it Red Crow that dropped from Succubus? No, it would be Red Crow that dropped from Succubus. Oh no, it was Succubus, okay. So yes, blue is guaranteed to be a boss soul requirement. Which does mean knowing 2 books that are guaranteed to be soul requirements, guessing it will be something that is very, very easy to do here, and I would be shocked if it didn't come up. Looks like Berix is on his way towards Eastern Reservoir, where Xanthus is shortly behind him. As far as our routes diverged in the beginning of this seed, it looks like they are kind of coming to a lot of the same consensus and are kind of going to start meeting in the middle here. Sorry, we seem to be once again having a couple issues with Berix's stream, although it looks like it is trying its best to kind of catch up and resync for us. Wooden Golem is a very nice yellow soul to find. The extra MP regen, especially with the Rune Ring I believe we found earlier, will make a large impact. And Dance Hall for Berix as well. Undine for Xanthus. I'll be honest, I got trolled by the Mimic there. I saw the blue and was like, wow, it's actually Blue Book up there. That's insane. Gold Plate, very good equipment. Like, well, not very good, but compared to what they have, it is a sizable upgrade for them. Taking just the free heal from the save as Xanthus figures out where on Reservoir he wants to go next. Listen, if Mimics could actually mimic drops, like as a randomizer feature, I would be in love. That would be... The Red Book did drop from Peeping Eye. I did not see what it was again. He scrolled past it a bit too fast. I wasn't prepared for it. But Red was from Peeping Eye, and the Red Crow was from Succubus. Aridus, not a bad drop. Especially if they find Legion or Balor, that could be a large swing in levels. Xanthus is making a lot of good sleep splits here. Yeah, I didn't consider... I mean, this game already kind of pushes the GBA's memory to the limits in a lot of ways with a lot of specific enemy usage that we can see in the enemy randomizer, so that does not surprise me, actually. We are still working within the technical limitations of the GBA, after all. And speaking of either Legion or Balor, there's Legion. This would be great for experience if he decides to stick with the fight after utilizing Aranus, but he should have a decent enough equipment layout and soul layout to actually deal with this, but I don't think he has a rush soul quite yet. Weak to stone, which he does have Catablipus, okay. Just making sure to tag at least each of the shell pieces in the core once so it gets the stone debuff, so now all attacks will be doing double damage. Then Lubricant and something like either Death or Nightmare. Yep, like we're seeing Death here, can just do some very, very solid damage to Legion. Especially with Archdemon. Yeah, this should not be a long fight. And Xanthus coming up pretty much right behind him inside Dance Hall. Pretty much right on Berix's heels at the moment. And Legion goes down. Honestly, just a very, very strong fight from Berix overall, showing some very good soul knowledge as well. Still one Soul Compass check left in Dance Hall as well, so he's gonna have to go through the right side of the lower end of Dance Hall. Time to guess. I couldn't agree more. Listen, what's the worst that happened? It's like arena boss or something that they haven't fought yet? Just narrows it down further. Every wrong guess just makes guessing easy. Although I don't think he has the mandatory red soul requirement yet either. Isn't it farmed from... no, the mandatory red soul is farmed from Peeping Eye. Which is itself another pretty easy farm to do. You just gotta go to corridors and call it a day. Backdash, very nice, just good quality of life soul to find, honestly. I find backdashless souls insufferable. Going back to quarters. Prefer Backdash or Black Panther? I'll be honest, one of my biggest complaints with this year's event is that we got rid of the Backdash preset. I liked the Backdash preset a great deal. Yeah, Julius fights without Backdash is actually just painful. And Berix going to do the Chrono Mage check here, which I believe is where the initial yellow book we found for Xanthus was? Although both streams currently seem to be frozen. Oh no. The individual streams are running, so this is a restream problem. I think we have Xanthus back. Don't worry, they're just splitting their runs. Yeah, Berix Chrono Mage to the restream. He wants to ensure this win. And Xanthus finding his way to Legion. And he has a pretty similar setup, so he should not have as many problems with Legion either, so this should be more than doable. Looks like Berix may have died at some point, because he's back in Dance Hall grabbing Backdash. Either he saved I can't imagine he died with 9 super pots, right? Yeah. He had to have, like, save split out somewhere. And Xanthus making the same decision that I have Catoblephus, it's weak to stone, we're just getting 1 hit, get double damage, and then going for Alistor instead of Death. Xanthus, #1 Alistor defender on the planet. And honestly, can't blame him. I don't know who he paid off, but his Alistor always looks a lot better than mine. Making very good use of Ghost, too, just to get multiple hits. That's very good soul knowledge coming out. Just very competent fight from Xanthus overall. Yeah, that Legion fight was an incredible show of just game knowledge from Xanthus. Can we get a map cancel for the real one? Berix going through Study, which he's probably going to fight the boss here just because the blue book is still an unknown, and he may as well get as many bosses as he can, knowing it's a boss requirement. Yellow book was Red Crow, and that was from Succubus. Red book, I believe, is Bomber Armor, but it drops from... I don't remember the exact soul requirement, but it does drop from Peeping Eye. Beat Clock Tower boss, which... I actually don't know if we've seen Clock Tower this seed or not. Although... yeah, I'm getting a bit of a seed lead from the last run where we found Clock Tower super early. I can't remember if we found... Nope, there's Clock Tower right now. I can't believe Berix banned guessing after finding all 3 books. It's interesting, because this seed was very open at the beginning, where they found Giant Bat and Hippogriff in Corridor. Well, Giant Bat was in Reservoir, as well as Malphus, but it was the left entrance of Reservoir that they didn't have school to progress through, so there was really no options. I don't know why Berix is probably still looking for the Red Soul, never mind. But they found Flight super early on, so the seed was very open. Their routes diverged a lot, but then it just very, very quickly kind of convalesced again. No, Red Crow is the yellow book requirement, not the red. Yeah, I don't know what's with the restream, but we're having a bit of issues with it tonight, so I'm just going to try and keep switching audio back and forth for whichever one's currently live. Yeah, the PPI might end up being the farm, like the play just to farm it out if you can't find the red book requirement. Looks like he might be checking. Rare bestiary view in a race. Berix must have gotten a Bird Gang when I wasn't looking. There's Blue Book for Xanthus too, so... Which I never tracked for either of them. Oops. I didn't see what Belor rolled, but 56 damage from the swings and 101 on the Nightmare is pretty good damage. This should be a pretty quick fight. Resist Holy and Dark is a very funny lineup, if nothing else. Switching over to the Airness just for another big experience boost. Xanthus right behind him, working his way through Clock Tower. This is gonna be a close race. Wow, the Peeping Eye drop from Belor into him guarding a Peeping Eye canister. We've stolen both of Belor's eyes today. Into Reservoir, that's interesting. Yeah, just killing the Dryads while you're here trying to get that second drop, which was an army jacket. So two pretty underwhelming drops from the Dryads as Xanthus goes into Belor himself. Berix is going back to Corridor, is kind of looking through... I think he's checking Red Book? Yeah, Bomber Armor from Peeping Eye, so it looks like he's probably just going to go farm Peeping Eye. Ah, gotcha. No worries. Two Whiff Nightmares is a lot of MP from Xanthus on Belor. That's incredibly unfortunate. And yeah, he is just going to farm Peeping Eye, which should not take long with some decent luck. And there it is. So he is officially in go mode. And I believe he grabbed the top floor warp earlier, and top floor leads directly to Garden, so this should be a pretty swift endgame. Oh, don't worry, I already have that noted. Ramen drops from the Lubricants is... I mean, pretty much overkill when we've got 9 super potions we can farm from Needles, but still nice to see. Weak to Holy, resist water, it looked like, for Gran, so... Do we have like a Valkyrie soul or something? Doesn't quite look like it, but even then we've got no great weapons, but we got some decent choices at least, so it shouldn't be too bad. Not great, but... Sadly, the lack of a Rush Soul is going to make a large impact here on Phase 2. Xanthus heading from Clock Tower, finding Arena, which I actually don't think there's anything of value for him here unless this is where the Bomber Armor actual canister is. Yeah, and Bomber Armor is the mandatory soul, which I think you can't... I don't even know if you can use it to hit Graham. It's also very expensive and just kind of awkward to use, so... Ugh. Not farming the soul is a mistake here. I kind of have to agree, especially if he already has Red Crow, which I may have missed whether your Xanthus picked it up or not. I do believe he has. Berix just having some menuing problems. We know he picked up the Bomber Armor. There it is, it's right below the Skull Million, bud. There he is. He found it. He got there. Took him a minute, but he got there. Xanthus found Manticore. Oh, that could be huge. And you can't hit Graham with Bomber Armor. The explosion is not big enough. That is unfortunate. There is no mandatory Blue Soul. The Blue Soul was a boss requirement. But the Creaking Skull is going to help out with damage potentially a ton, so... How did he become to possess those powers? Yeah, 82 per swing with Lubricant on the Creaking Skull is a pretty good chunk of damage. Especially since it's only hit him for 35 per swing, so it's averaging out to almost equal 3 of his weapon swings. Yeah, Julius, without any Rush Soul and with pretty middling equipment, could become a problem. It's really going to depend on what his stat rolls end up being. And Xanthus is still going through Arena, which I'm not quite sure what exactly he's looking for at this point. I don't know. I believe he has the Red Crow for the yellow requirement, so he might be looking for Bomber Armor rather than electing to farm it. Or might even still be trying to just find some last pieces of equipment, potentially, because he has still been fighting a lot. And there's the Bomber Armor, too. The Manticore out of this could end up being a pretty decisive swing, though. Just because, like, if he is ready to just kind of book it to Graham, I believe he's also got the top floor warp unlocked, and Noah's Gardens is on top floor. Poison Fist is a huge drop. Weak to Curse Julius as well, so if either of them have Siren... But I don't think anyone's found any Curse-related armaments or souls. I mean, Nightmare is putting in a lot of work, but man, you hate seeing Curse Weak Julius and just not being able to take advantage of it. Yeah, using Nemesis on the Skull Million there to be able to just ignore enemies, make it not fly around, and make it a much easier kill. Very, very interesting idea. I'm a big fan of that. Yeah, Xanthus's game knowledge in general is extremely, extremely high. Like, he kind of always tends to pull something out that I'm like, I didn't know you could do that! I would have never even considered an implementation like Nemesis there for that. I mean, yeah, as a developer of, like, the roguelite mod for Aria Sorrow Reprise, man, he's learned a lot. And Berix still in part 1 of Julius. Julius is hurting. But Nightmare's putting in a lot of work, and then Arc Demon, as well as the amount of super pots he has, means he's allowed to just spam Nightmare a lot and not really be punished too much for it, just because of the raw amount of healing that he has available to him. And looks like Xanthus is going up to top floor. And I know it looks like Berix has a pretty large lead right now, being like in phase 2 of Julius, but I can't oversell enough how much of a difference that Manticore could make. Being the top tier Rush Soul in the game could speed up Graham a lot, could speed up Julius a lot, and then who knows what'll happen in Chaotic Realm and Chaos too. And there is Julius down for Berix. Lightning Doll as a first check in Chaotic is huge. That's another kind of top tier soul, especially if we get like a Lightning Week Chaos. Yeah, Xanthus electing for Valkyrie and the Poison Fist on Graham, which could speed things up a lot its own. Valkyrie hitting for 219 is a pretty big deal, especially with Arc Demon up to just quickly refresh them. I did not know the Valkyrie hitbox lingered that long. Beam Skeleton, it's just a worse nightmare. Kilma Demon's actually not bad to find at this point when you're going through Chaotic. Can make some of these rooms a little bit more convenient. Sees the Shadow Knight weak to fire and slash and decides it might be a chance to get some last-minute equipment drops. And we're already seeing that Manticore come out in part 2 of Graham, just doing a lot. Demon's Mail off of that is huge. If he wasn't already set defensively, he certainly is now. 9 super pods, some ramen, other healing items, and the single highest defensive armor piece that gives you like dark resist in the game. Yeah, he's gonna be pretty bulky. Taking one last save before Chaos and just on his way in. Meanwhile, Xanthus dealing with part 3 of Graham, which should be over pretty quickly with his use of Valkyrie and then the Poison Fist here. Weak to Lightning Chaos too, so that Lightning Doll from the first check of Chaotic is going to come up. That is going to melt part 2 of Chaos. In fact, it's probably worth your time to focus down the red castle here, or the red part of Chaos here, as quickly as possible, just to be able to melt the other 2 halves of Chaos. Sadly, no other very good equipment here. Yeah, weak to lightning. Poison resist Chaos is actually incredibly unfortunate for Xanthus. Got to make that Poison Fist lose a lot of value. However, it will still be very good for Julius. Of which Xanthus is on his way to Julius right now. However, between that Demon's Mail and still having 9 super potions in his back pocket, I struggle to see Berix dying here. It looks like he's come to the same conclusion of just focus down the red statue and then lightning doll the rest of them to pieces with Arc Demon. Looks like Xanthus went to the warp before remembering that Flying Gardens was attached to top floor and the locked entrance there, so he's on his way back up through top floor. Or he may have taken a trip to the shop and I didn't notice. I was admittedly caught up in the chaos fight. Oh, 41 per tick without any eyes as well, using the eyes to just refill Arc Demon and then Lightning Doll the core. This will be a quick chaos fight. Yeah, this is definitely going to be the rare zero eye chaos, because the eyes are currently helping him more than anything else here. Xanthus currently entering Julius. And that is going to be GG's for Berix as we hit time. Even got the special unique Soma voice line. What a crazy race. Where was a good weapon? None to be found. This is thief mode. You think you're getting a good weapon? Come on. I mean, yeah, we did find Poison Fist off the Were Jaguar, but... Which Xanthus is using to pretty good effect on Julius right now. But your weapons that run were Arc Demon and then Nightmare and Lightning Doll in Chaotic 1 to a Lightning Weak Chaos while you had 9 Super Potions. And part 2 of Julius for Xanthus. I cannot believe the Shadow Knight kill just dropped Demon's Mail. That one YOLO shot at the end just really paying off. Yeah, this was an Arc Demon seed I've ever seen one. Needles dropping Super Potions was insane. There was just so much.
Also...
And welcome, Berix. An interesting couple of seeds there.
I hate this game, actually.
Nope, that's entirely fair. That first seed was, something, to say the least.
They're both existed.
Oh, you didn't like this seed where you just found Bat into Malphus instantly, then straight to Hippogriff?
Okay, that was nice. I didn't like the part where I didn't have anything. Ever.
Yeah.
I want gear. I didn't like leather plate as my main armor for most of this seed.
You found some decent weapons in the first seed, at least. I mean, you found Gungnir. What more can you ask for?
Yeah, I killed Death. I got the Death Shop. If I hadn't gotten the Death Shop, I'd be spending 20 more minutes in that seed.
Correct. It's funny you mentioned that because Xanthus didn't do Death or Headhunter, so he had Vanilla Shop the entire time.
Sucks for Xanthus.
Yeah, that ended up making a pretty large difference. Also, I don't think chat will forgive me if I don't bring it up. You want to talk about forgetting to equip Rare Ring for the first 20 minutes?
No. I thought I lost right then, honestly. Oh my god.
Surprisingly, it ended up not... The only time I think it really cost you was the Kicker Skeleton, where you spent like 5 minutes or so farming that, where Xanthus came in, killed it once, got the Tasty Meat, and said, alright, I'm leaving.
You didn't want the other drop? I wanted the other drop!
What was the first drop? Because I know the Tasty Meat was the second drop.
I don't remember, also useless.
Yeah.
But there was the chance that it was good, okay? Huh? Yeah, and also Joy Use.
Oh, wow.
I want the Levitan to make the other farms easier.
I mean, it's not like... The weapons in the Thief mode seed, I feel, didn't really matter too much when you had pretty much infinite Super Potions, Arc Demon, and then Nightmare, and then Phase 1, or the first check in Chaotic Realm was Lightning Doll.
Yeah, the Super Potions from Needles is what really carried the seed. Could I get another Levitan? I've gotten 4 Joyous.
Yeah, and then, big fan of, like, you know, swap past Shadow Knight until you saw it was Slash and Fire Weak, said this is doable, and then just to get Demon's Mail from it.
Yeah, you know, I have enough healing that it's not going to kill me.
I mean, what's the worst that can happen?
May as well see what I'm going to get. Surely it drops claim, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It would not be the first time.
I mean, name another time it's dropped claim. Who else has farmed Deep Shadow Knight ever?
I'm trying to think, and I'm just like, I think I've done it exactly once, got nothing, and said, "No, I'm good. I'm good, Chief."
Wait, hold on. What's its default drop? Like Super Potion or Mana Prism? One of those.
It's some consumable, but I honestly don't know. It's never come up. You normally only like kill Shadow Knight just to get its soul and call it a day. However, Xanthus did actually go into Arena. He decided to keep looking for the Bomber Armor Soul rather than going to farm Peeping Eye.
Well, you see, I just knew that I would get it in 3 kills, so why would I go looking for it?
I have to agree. I think farming it out was the right choice when you knew where Peeping Eye was. Super easy to farm soul with like a pretty moderate drop percentage.
The drop rate is horrible.
Oh, is it really for Peeping Eye?
In the game.
Oh my god! Wow.
That's why I knew that I'd get it within 3.
Wow. You know, true. But yeah, he went to Arena for it, but ended up finding Manticore and Poison Fist for his trouble.
Yeah, okay. I see how it is.
Which, Manticore has helped a lot, but I don't think he actually did the chaotic checks. It looks like he doesn't have Lightning Doll. So that's going to be kind of a huge difference here, because he's still using Nightmare and Manticore to go through it.
That's unlucky. Okay, this enemy has 2 drops.
Yeah, any other thoughts about either of the seeds, either of the presets in general?
I posted in chat in the race time chat after sitting in my menus for 3 minutes, not equipping the right souls.
Yeah, that.
Okay, I really thought that Red Crow was a red soul at the time. I think it's a fair mistake to make.
I was about to say, you and a lot of people in chat, that was a common misconception. But you missing the bomber armor for about 3 minutes was...
No, I knew I had bomber armor. I just thought that Red Crow was a red... I just thought Red Crow was a red soul, so I had to equip Red Crow, and then I'd go equip the yellow soul. And I'm sitting here like, where the hell is Red Crow?
Oof. It was magical.
Hey.
Welcome, Xanthus. How's it going?
Going good. It's going good. Felt like those were 2 decent races.
They were both very close.
I'm happy with how it went. Because I won.
The first seed was interesting because your guys' routes split almost instantly, and it was radically different for the entirety of it, where Berix was in go mode when he only had 1 book. He had pretty much all of the requirements done, while you had no mode the entire time. You had all 3 books, but had pretty much only the red book requirement, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because you just went through almost complete opposite routes of each other, and Berix ended up finding up 2 of the duplicate books pretty quickly, and just ended up being a huge swing in his favor.
Speaking of dupes in this seed were very annoying.
Yeah.
I did not like dupe yellow and Galamoth.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that first seed was
not my fun time.
Was really interesting. Like, it was kind of hard at the beginning, but then like you get, or at least with the route I took, I just got like all the movement, and just opened up from there.
I got a Calibug. That opened up for me.
Yeah, the Calibug ended up making a ton of difference. It's also Berix fought Death super early on, which
it sucked.
Gave him it was not a good fight, but it did open the shop up, which the shop was pretty stacked, had like Muramasa in it, a couple other good weapons and like armor pieces.
Dang. Yeah, I don't think I even got the shop in the first seed.
Yeah, you didn't do Headhunter or Death, where Berix ended up doing both of them, and the shop actually ended up being kind of stacked. I'm trying to think what else was in it. I was
joking when I said that if I hadn't gotten those weapons, it would have been like, well, I guess I lose the seed. This is my only hope.
Yeah, the Death Gambit there, especially into the shop upgrade, really paid off. Meanwhile, the second seed, the Thief Mode seed, just no real good equipment in sight for you guys. The only thing that really carried it was Archdemon into Nightmare into almost infinite super potions from the needles.
Oh yeah, the items were stacked as far as like healing.
Like as far as consumables go, it was
Everything
ridiculous.
I killed would give me a consumable.
Well,
Like super
not
potion.
everything. You guys
Anyways,
both got a
Final Guard
katana
drops
early
high
on,
potion.
and then
Yeah.
Berix fought Shadow Knight at the end of it because it was Slash Week, Fire Week, and got a Demon's Mail off of a single kill. So between Demon's Mail and 9 super potions, he was pretty much indestructible.
Which it did boost my Lightning Doll damage. Strength boost Red Souls. It was useful.
True.
You had Lightning Doll.
Lightning
You
Doll
could
was
also
the
have had
first
Red
chaotic
Doll.
check.
Okay, Final Guard is high potion and high mind up.
Yeah, one of the things that really made a difference in speeding up the chaos fight, because Berix had a 0-eye chaos, was he did the first chaotic check, got Lightning Doll from it into a Lightning Weak chaos. So between Lightning Doll and Archdemon, it was just over for chaos before he even knew it hit him.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was lucky enough to get a gold armor, I think from like a Minotaur or something, which helped out a ton.
That was the good armor that I had until the end. Very nice.
Pretty much the only armor you guys found outside of, what, casual clothes and copper plate, I think, or leather plate?
Like armor or army jacket or
Yes.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love army jacket, I guess.
Overall, a very weird thief scene. Very close races still, regardless. Like, they were... Your guys' routing in the thief seed split off a lot in the first, like, 10 minutes. And then converged very quickly when the seed kind of became... I don't want to say linear, but you guys just took very similar paths, found very similar items back to back, where there were a couple small detours here and there, but overall just very close race. The Lightning Doll ended up mattering a lot, as well as Berix elected to farm Peeping Eye for the Red Soul, which gave him a lot of additional time instead of going to Arena.
Yeah, I don't know why you didn't just get in 3 kills like I did Xanthus. That would have been easy. So out of everything in Chaotic, I think the Shadow Knight was like the only good drop.
The Leviathan from the Succubus is kind of nice.
You're right, I forgot about that one. Shadow Knight with Demon's Mail and Succubus with Leviathan. And then you could get like an Osafune, some healing, an Ancient Belt.
Oh, wow. The seed was really short on healing, so that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need high potions from Final Guard.
But that was honestly most of what I had to cover. Past that, those were just very good races. Definitely would recommend kind of like checking it back just to see some of the differences, because it was... The first seed in particular had a lot of really different routing choices from each of you. That was very interesting, so...
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to rewatch the first seed especially.
I got a random Manticore drop from Manticore in Chapel.
Yeah, you got it first Manticore kill pretty much too, yeah.
And then I walk into the next room like, oh, okay, this isn't really that special. You can just farm Manticores right here.
But think of, you saved a solid 30 seconds.
This is true. It was good damage on that ground. Yeah, they were seeds. I don't think I would replay them necessarily.
They were truly some of the seeds of all time.
Looking at my inventory after the fact, it looks a lot better now that I farmed out the best gear in the game.
No rune ring though, L. Actually, Xanthus, didn't you find a rune ring in this thief mode seed?
I believe so, yeah. I think I found it in both seeds, if I'm not mistaken.
I want to say so, yeah.
I think it was in the shop, the first seed, and I bought it only at the end.
Yeah, it was unlocked from the Headhunter shop, I want to say, because it was pretty late in.
No, it was in Death Shop, I think, or the default one, and it just wasn't.
It definitely wasn't the default one. It would have been Death or Headhunter, but you might be right. It might have been Death, because it might have been the second shop unlocked, not the final one.
And then I went to buy bomber armor from the shop in this seed. I realized I skipped whatever study bosses. And then
It didn't matter.
That's all I really had.
Same, other than just everyone remember to equip your rare ring at the beginning of the seed so you're not 25 minutes into it without it.
Oh my god. It was fine. Nothing has
there was
drops anyways.
I don't remember if it was the first game or second game, but I definitely forgot to equip something until like. But I caught it like the third room in, so it wasn't that bad.
You did equip your rare ring a little bit late, just kind of about like the second or third room in, where you're like, oh right. I think Berix was in inner quarters swapping out one of his accessories before he realized that like, oh, I never equipped the rare ring.
Yeah, and then switching to the rune ring, I like forgot about it again. So I was like, try to farm, I think Killer Mantle, and then after I left arena, I'm like, wait a minute, still rune ring on.
We've all done it. I think every single person who's played Thief mode has done that. But unless there's anything either of you two wanted to mention, that was pretty much all that I had for you guys.
No, it was a fun race, and looking forward to next match I have in losers bracket.
Yeah, good luck with that.
All right, and we have a race later tonight as well, I believe, at around 11:30. I want to say.
Sounds right. Might be midnight on the dot. It is midnight on the dot.
Yep, it is midnight with Lunix versus Cherubim. So we've got more Aria here in about 2 hours or so. But beyond that, well, thank you both of you for the post-game interview. You can follow the runners. They've already been linked in chat as well. Thank you, Berix. And thank you to everyone at Speedgaming for just doing everything in the background for us. Always appreciate it.
Thank you for commentating.
Oh, yeah, anytime.
I was going to say that. I was going to say it first.
My Southern hospitality beat you to the punch.
It's okay. He beat me to generating the race room, so it all comes full circle.
I won that race.
Yeah, I was going to say, he beat me in the race, so I got to get something.
It's a fun game of rock, paper, scissors we're playing here.
Okay.
All right, you guys have a nice night. I think that
Thanks,
is going to be it from us.